Welcome back to my channel. My name is Cyan. Thank you for joining me. Today we're going to talk about something very fun and exciting, at least I think so. Basically, we're going to discuss my top 8 crazy online dating stories from Plenty of Fish, Match, Eharmony, Tinder. It's across the board, but it's 8 stories that I want to tell you guys and share because I think you'll enjoy these as well. And if you guys have some crazy stories from online dating, leave yours in the comments because I'm curious about what you guys have experienced as well, okay? Number 8, we are going to call Versailles Italian. This guy I met through Plenty of Fish. We talked for a little bit. We decided to go ahead and meet up, and we go on our first date, and we are at a restaurant. And as soon as I walk in, there was this feeling of awkwardness from the beginning. Like the way he was acting was awkward. Not like the usual date jitters that happen, not that kind of thing. It was more like I felt like he thought he was being filmed for a television show. And I say that because of the way he was dressed. He had on like a beret. He had like a vest thing on and was trying to look the Italian part because he kept talking about that on the date, and he'd mentioned it several times before I met him. And he would say that he was Versailles Italian. Versailles is a city here in Kentucky, and I guess it's a specific type of Italian, country Italian or whatever. But he thought he was part of some important group, and he stressed that. And through the entire date, it was like he was answering questions on camera. He had his arm on the back of the bench, just kind of man spread, legs spread open, arm back. Had this weird, yeah, thing going on, And I honestly took a few glances around thinking maybe I was being filmed or punked or something because of the way he was acting. It was very bizarre. Needless to say, that did not end in a second date. I did not see that guy again. But the way he was dressed and everything, and just his behavior, and the way he answered questions, and would just do this nod thing, like I really thought he was acting for some type of television performance. It was very bizarre. Number 7, I like to call drive-by. This guy, I don't remember where I met him, what online dating site, but we had been talking. We decided to meet up. We had scheduled the date. We had everything planned, and the time, place, all of that. The day before the date, he like messages me and says, "Hey, I just so happened to be in your city," because he lived in the city beside mine, and I'm with some friends. Is it okay if you give me your address and you stand outside in the driveway and I can just drive by and see you so I know what you look like? What? Okay, first off, this is not a safari where you're taking pictures outside the window and viewing wildlife. You know, no, that's weird. Number 6 is Birthday Ditch. Birthday Ditch I met off of Plenty of Fish, I'm pretty sure. And we actually hit it off really well. I really enjoyed my time with him. We had great conversation. Everything was easy with him as far as just communication and things we had in common. We decided to go on a date. The date went really well. We had great chemistry during the date. And we talked after that date and set up a second one. Well, it just so happened to be that date, the next date, was set up right around my birthday. And so we planned to go on a date, and then I was going to have a few friends come over, just to have like a handful of friends that would be there as well, so we could all celebrate together, and they could meet him. And he was very comfortable with that, and we talked up until that Saturday, and then that Saturday we discussed that he was going to have a friend with him as well that he was going to bring with him and his buddy. And I was like, yeah, that's great. The more the merrier. So we plan this. I get dressed to the T. I meet my friends there. He's not there. I'm like, okay, well, he's probably running a little bit late. Time goes on. I'm texting. I'm calling. I can't get a hold of him. And basically end up getting stood up on my birthday. And I did not hear from him again for a long time. I have no idea what happened. I just didn't understand any of that. I'm sure it's a great story on his side, or maybe it's not. But I do have to give Birthday Ditch some credit, because about a year or year and a half later, he did contact me and said he felt really bad about that. And it made me feel better knowing that that had been on his mind, and he wanted to apologize for that, specifically for being a douchebag or an asshole, whatever term he used. And I agreed that he was, but I did thank him for apologizing. So give him a little bit of credit. Still don't know what happened. Who knows? We'll never know. Moving on to number 5. Number 5 is Tall and Obsessed. I met this guy on Plenty of Fish, and we started talking, and he was okay to talk with, but I could tell, and I think some people are like this. Like, you can tell from conversation that you're having with someone via text or online. After a while, you can kind of get a feel for them, and you know whether you would click or not. And I just began to feel like I wouldn't date this guy. He was fun to talk to, like just to conversate with, be friends with, but I wouldn't date him. And he tried and tried and tried to get me to meet up with him, and I'm like, I don't think this is going to work. He was very needy. He was constantly sending emails or messages multiple times a day. And then, like, if I didn't respond quick enough, why aren't you messaging me back? What's going on? Just crazy. And so we, like, just sort of took a hiatus, and there was no communication for a while. And then it picked back up again later, where he was contacting and reaching out to me again. And he did this for about 3 years, just communicating with me on and off, trying to get me to meet up with him. And he was like obsessed, and that's just the best word I can think of for it. Well, after 3 years, I'm like, he wanted to meet up, of course, again. It was asking me to meet up. And I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to meet up with him just to prove to him that this is not happening, because I knew it wasn't going to happen. He didn't get it, but I thought maybe he could use that as some type of closure. So we ended up meeting, and again, good conversation. Everything was fine, but there was no chemistry there. I don't like needy, clingy type people. I know some people love that. It's not me. I'm very independent. Yeah, no. So, and of course, as soon as like the date's over with, he's messaging me, when do you want to meet up again? Da da da. And I'm like, no. I'm like, I'm good. And I was hoping it would give him closure, but it didn't. And then it just kept going on where he's like, well, I don't know why you're stuck up. Why are you, don't want to meet up again? You didn't even give it a chance. I already know. Like, I'm not trying to waste my time with you or your time. So my friend became single, my good friend, and my bestie, and I was like, hey, why don't you meet up with this guy? Not as like a bad thing, but I thought, well, maybe they would hit it off, or, I don't know. And so they ended up meeting up, and she ends up texting me like during the date, and she's like, Cyan, this guy is obsessed with you. He will not stop talking about you. And I'm like, what idiot talks about someone else on a date? Like, the guy just couldn't get over it. We'd met one time. Like, I don't know why he was so hung up on this. But yeah, that was Mr. Tall and Obsessed. Oh Lord, where are we at? Number 4, Mad Hatter. Mad Hatter, I think I met on Match, possibly. I'm not sure. Mad Hatter was someone I talked with. We got along well via communication, on text, messaging, things like that, and decided to go ahead and meet up on a date. And I knew before we met up he was a sheriff, which kind of makes you a little nervous anyway. Even when you haven't done anything wrong, it's still kind of odd, I guess. I don't know, maybe it's just me. So anyway, we met up, and the first date went well. Great communication. He was easy to talk to. And then, we went home. We parted ways. He tried to do the kiss thing, and I was like, yeah, just no. And like, I could tell he wanted to go in. Like, he didn't try to, but it's one of those awkward things when you're trying to part ways initially. You know what I'm talking about. So we ended up talking after that because everything went well. We set up a second date. We went on the second date just like for lunch or something, and he wanted to pay. Well, when the bill comes, he pulls out his wallet, but he doesn't have enough money. But I think he knew that because apparently he brought a lot of change with him. So he's counting out change, like $5 or more in change. Like there's pennies, nickels, there's change all over the table at this point. I don't know where he got the change from because I think I would have heard it when he was walking. I don't know. But there's change everywhere. And not that there's anything wrong with paying with change, but I guess my thought was if you're having a hard time, it was a cheap lunch too. It wasn't like expensive. If you're having a hard time, paying for a lunch, maybe dating isn't your priority right now. And then come to find out, it really shouldn't have been his priority. This guy was recently divorced. He was living in his mother's basement. And I'm like, oh, Lord, just red flag, red flag, red flag. And he goes, he actually picked me up. So he drops me off at my house and tries to give me a kiss at the door. And I turn my head because no. I knew it wasn't happening at that point. There was no point leading him on. And, but before the kiss, he was talking about dates, and he was like, next weekend we're going to have a family barbecue. I want you to come out and meet my family. Monday we're going to do this. Tuesday we're going to go to this game. Wednesday we're going to do this. Like the guy had literally planned out a date for every day for the next week. I had just met this dude, and I'm not meeting your family. Like I don't even know you. I'm not trying to meet your family. And so I feel like he was just really in a rush to get things done, and I'm not somebody that's in a rush for things like that. I feel like you have to take your time and get to know somebody. I'm not ready to meet your family, and I don't need that kind of control in my life. Let's just be honest. So Mr. Mad Hatter was moving on to number 3, and this current boyfriend, last boyfriend, hopefully ever. We'll see. I'm sure he got a kick out of that one. So number 3 is two-step. Two-step was someone that I thought I would actually end up in a relationship with. We hit it off really well, and I think I met him, oh man, I don't remember if it was, I don't know. It was one of the sites. And anyway, we talked, we hit it off, we met in person, we had a great date. That date lasted forever, and it just felt like time flew by. We laughed through most of it, which is important to me. I like to be able to have that chemistry and to be able to joke and laugh. I'm goofy, so I need somebody that can be okay with that. And I just felt like I'd known this guy forever. It was pretty wild, just how well everything went. And then we talked, of course, every day after that. And the second or third date, I don't recall which one it was. We had set up a second or third date to go to, I think we were going to a movie, dinner and a movie, something like that, something typical, something basic. And my older son was with his father, so I had that Saturday off. I'd gotten ready, I did full makeup, I dressed, all of that fun stuff. And it's time for him to pick me up. And I had talked to him earlier in the day, and everything was fine. It's time to pick me up. He's not there. And I wait. I give a few extra minutes. I wait 10 or 15 minutes. He's not there. So I start texting. He's not responding. I start calling. He's not responding. So I'm just pacing around the house. Like, I don't get it. I don't know what's going on. And I tried for several hours. Never got a hold of the guy. Got stood up, basically. And it was probably, I don't know, like 5 days later that he finally contacted me and was like, yeah, sorry about that. And I think it was via text or something. And I was like, yeah, what happened? Like, what was that? And he said, oh, it all sounded bogus. It was like, oh, some financial stuff came up, and I couldn't handle it, and I couldn't deal, and I couldn't go out. I'm like, okay, you couldn't call me? You couldn't text me and say, hey, we need to do a rain check? I understand that stuff happens. If that is legit, like something, I understand that kind of thing happens. I'm an adult. I get it. So all he had to do was be like, yeah, can we do this next weekend or something like that. The fact that you can't communicate that to me, no. So, yeah, that didn't happen. So I had to say bye-bye. Bye-bye to two-step. My number 2 story is Stumps. And oh my God, so many people have heard this story. So I met this guy. I actually met him on Yahoo, like we met on Yahoo Chat. Wasn't really for dating purposes. We just met on there and talked for a while. Um, and we had pretty good communication. We got along. So, you know, and I don't know. I don't think he had a picture on his profile, so he ended up doing like a webcam chat. We did that, and so I could see what he looked like or whatever. Nothing nasty. Get your mind out of the gutter. It was legit, just talking with the webcam thing, and so I could see what he looked like. So there would be no surprises, right? Well, we go to meet up. It's our first date, and the guy comes into the restaurant. I'm already there. I reach out to give him a hug because I'm a hugger, and as he's putting his arms up to hug me, his shirt sleeve rides up, and there's a stump coming at me. Like legit, the guy has no hand. Like it's like from here on, nothing. Right? There's nothing there. It's a stump. And then of course now I'm caught in a situation where I'm like, okay, oh my god, I have the oh my god, you have a stump look on my face because I didn't know. You have a responsibility. If you're missing part of a body part, a limb, anything like that that's obvious, you need to tell people ahead of time so that they don't have the oh my god, you have a stump look on their face when you meet them. I mean, come on. And then, so I give him a hug and we go to sit down. But I'm thinking in my head, like, how did I not know? One, why didn't he tell me? And two, how did I not know? Because I'd seen this guy on a webcam. Well, he'd been making dinner on the webcam. Like, he had a pizza in the oven. And he turned the camera off when he got up to get the pizza. Like, he ended the conversation there. So I never saw him stand up. So I never saw the stump. Like, he intentionally was hiding this thing. So during the date, he kept his stump, like he kept his hand over it, or he kept it underneath the table. He was super awkward and uncomfortable about it. And I just didn't know. I was so caught off guard by it. I had no idea. And it gets better because he had asked me to pick the restaurant. And you guys, I didn't know he had a stump, so I picked a steakhouse. Like, how in the world? He can't cut a steak. He can't cut chicken, and I'm not offering. I'm not offering to cut up his food. That's probably embarrassing for him. So when we sit down and they hand us menus, I'm like, what the hell is this guy going to order? So I wanted him to order first. I made him order first so I could see what he's doing. And I would base my decision off that. So he orders a salad. A salad. What guy orders salad on a date? One who can't cut up any food. Or, like, the thing going through my head is he ordering salad because he can't cut up anything, or is he ordering salad because he wants to get the hell out of there as soon as possible? I don't know. So I order salad even though I don't want salad because I'm trying to match up. Stop being weird. I'm trying to match up how long we're there. I don't want to order something that is going to take a long time to eat when he's over here munching on a salad for 15 minutes and is ready to go. So all of this stuff's going through my head. I don't really understand why he's ordered the salad. Is it both reasons? Is it one of the reasons? I don't know. And I just felt bad because if he had just told me he had a stump, we could have gone somewhere that didn't require cutting of food. Like, I could have, oh my God, it was horrible. And then I couldn't get him to talk. He wasn't offering anything to the table as far as conversation or anything like that. He was very uncomfortable and quiet. So in my head, because I'm me, I'm thinking I need to break the ice about the hand so that he can get more relaxed and be more comfortable and open up a little bit more, right? So I just look at him and I'm like, did an alligator bite it off? I swear to God, I said that. And he looks up and goes, what? I said, your hand. Did an alligator bite it off? And he goes, no, I was born this way. Dead silent after that. So I'm like, okay. I just couldn't get the guy to open up or be comfortable at all. I tried, and let me say, I don't care that he had a stump. I don't care. That does not bother me at all. it's the fact that he didn't tell me. And I feel like you have an obligation to tell somebody that. And for me, I mean, I know everybody's different, but if I had been born with this, I think I would just have to find a way to get comfortable with it. So I would make up some silly ass story about how I lost the hand and bring it up in the beginning, break the ice, and then move on. But this guy, even though he was born with this, still was not comfortable with discussing it or showing it or whatever. Um, and I feel bad for him in that sense. But then he ends up telling me, like, of all the jobs in the world, this guy was a limo driver, which was even funnier. You know, which good for him, but it's just like I would not have, of all occupations that usually requires two hands, yeah, you know, it was crazy. And then he wanted, we were talking about work, and I explained where I worked, and he wanted to know if I could get him on there, and in my mind, I'm like, hell no, because I don't need that awkwardness at work. I'm not trying to combine both my worlds. I'm a Seinfeld fan. You don't combine your worlds. And so, yeah, so I was like, I've got to get out of this date. How do I get out of this date? Like now. I was done at that point. So I made up some excuse about my dog. I had an English Mastiff, and I'm like, yeah, I forgot to feed my dog. I've got to go home and feed the dog. She's going to be hungry. I've got to let her out. She hasn't been out. Um, and he's like, are you sure? And I'm like, yeah, you know. And I had actually looked at the clock. He got there at 7, and when I walked out the door of that restaurant, it was 7:40. So we literally were on that date for 40 minutes. Yeah. Moving on to my number one story. Number one is Time Warner. This guy I met on Plenty of Fish. But let me back up. So I moved to Lexington, Kentucky, and I have cable set up, like most people, at my new place. Several months later, I'm on Plenty of Fish, and I end up meeting this guy on there. Um, and we hit it off pretty well as far as conversation. Everything was good. He was nice. Um, and we decided to meet up. We go on a date. Things got a little awkward during the date when I was talking about my name change. Like, the guy didn't believe me. He thought that was kind of weird. And he thought I was making it up, which I thought was odd. And I'd ordered, after we ate, I ordered a bourbon, and because that's my drink. And he's like, why'd you order that? And I'm like, because it's my favorite drink. I love bourbon. And he's like, no, you don't. And I'm like, what? He's like, seriously, why'd you order that? And I'm like, I drink bourbon? And he couldn't believe it. He acted like I was making stuff up. And I don't know why somebody would make that up. That's not impressive in any way. I, so that was kind of awkward. But other than that, I mean, everything was okay. We talked after the date, and probably a week or so later, we were talking, and I just made this big pot of chili, and he mentioned something about being hungry, and I was like, if you want to come over, we can have dinner and watch a movie. And he was like, yeah. He comes over, and I don't know, we took chili upstairs. I had a loft at that time, and that's where my living room was. So we take chili upstairs, and oh, let me back up. When he first got there, he walks into my entryway, and he goes, oh, I've been in your house before. What? I'm like, okay, no, you're mistaken. He goes, oh, no. He goes, I installed your cable. Nuh-uh. Like, nuh-uh. In my mind, I'm freaking out because this guy's been in my house, and I'm thinking he's confused. Like, I don't remember this guy. No. And he goes, yeah, I have. And he walks to the right. He goes, your bedroom's over here. You've got brown curtains and this and this and that. And I'm like, holy shit, this guy has been in my house. It was so bizarre that he remembered that, the details of the house. Like, I was kind of freaked out, but I was like trying not to be overly paranoid about it. But in my mind, I'm being paranoid. So anyway, we take our chili upstairs, and that just keeps playing in my mind. Like, did this guy already know that he'd been in my house when he saw my profile? Like, did he know and didn't say anything? Like, I don't know. So we go to sit down and eat chili, and he calls me by my prior name, and I'm like, that's not my name. Do not call me that. And I said, my name's Cyan. He's like, but that's not your real name. I'm like, it is my real name. I had my name legally changed. That's my real name. And he's like, no, but you weren't born that way. And I'm like, how is my name in your phone? Do you have Cyan in your phone? And he's like, I'm like, you've got the other name in your phone for with my number, right? He's like, and I'm like, mm-hmm. So we end up getting this little disagreement about my name or whatever, and I'm like, yeah. I'm like, no. I'm like, do not call me that. That's to me, that's disrespectful. And he's like, well, it's disrespectful to your parents, and I'm like, what? He gets up, like it wasn't even like a heated thing. He gets up and sets the chili down, goes downstairs, puts his coat on, and leaves. And that's it. Just some crazy ass shit. Just leaves. And I'm like, okay. No, I didn't explain why he had left or anything. He just left. And I'm just confused by all of this. Well, after that point, he continues to message me through Plenty of Fish because I think I ended up blocking his text or whatever. It's because he was being annoying. He's messaged me on there and all the nice stuff, like everything he was before that encounter, like he'd been really nice on texting and messages and things like that. Now he was just nasty, talking about things he wanted to do to me and thoughts he had had and dreams. And just nasty stuff. And I'm like, no, I just kept ignoring it and blocking. And then after I blocked him, he ended up contacting me through, like, created another profile and kept trying to get me to meet up with him to do things. And I'm like, no, it's not happening. But he tried and just would randomly send messages for like the next year and a half of just things he wanted to do, like just nasty stuff. And again, crazy. This is the stuff. This is real. You can't make this stuff up. It's so crazy you can't make it up. But those are my top 8 crazy experiences that stand out. Of course, I've had the basic things, like everybody's probably been stood up. That's happened. I'm sure there's other things, and I know there's other stories, but we're going to leave it at 8. And as far as the online dating, would I recommend it? I almost feel like it's a necessary evil these days because I don't know how else to meet people unless you have a lot of extracurricular activities that you're involved with, or groups, or church, things like that, where you can meet other people. Because I never recommend dating anybody at work. Just don't do it. It's just really hard to meet people. And the great thing about online dating is that it opens up your world to people you would never meet in those circles anyway. So it opens up options for you, but it also opens up more options for crazy people too. So it's a double-edged sword. But so yeah, I would recommend it, but you're going to have a lot of trial and headaches with this, especially like if you're looking for a relationship. Plenty of Fish is not a good place to go for that. But I would say Tinder. I had the most luck on Tinder, and I liked it. It was easier to use. I felt like it was more user friendly. It was, I don't know, you swipe right, whatever, and you both do it, and then you connect if you want to. Like it was just a better app to me, and I would recommend that above all else. But that's probably because I met my boyfriend on Tinder. But that's some shenanigans for another time. So I hope you all liked this video and found it to be entertaining. Let me know what kind of crazy experiences that you all have had from online dating. Just leave them in the comments below. I can't wait to read some of these. And if you like the video, go ahead and subscribe. Click on the little bell to get the notification so that you know every time I upload a video. And I will see you guys later. Have a great day.